Going to start letting people in. People are coming in. Hello, everybody. Let's wait for a few minutes for everybody to join.
There's a question. Nordine has raised her hand. Or was it maybe it was just to say hi, maybe.
Maybe if you have, for the people just joining, if you have some questions, we have a Q&A section on the Zoom link where you can put your question in the chat, and then we'll have 15 minutes to answer the questions about the masterclass, and 15 minutes for, yes, let's activate the subtitles, and 15 minutes for the program Q&A, but let's wait for everybody just to tell you the agenda for today. Let's wait just a couple more minutes for more people to join. I guess we can start.
Yeah.
Let's start. Thank you for everybody that joins us today for this masterclass. Thank you, Professor Alfes, for attending. And also thank you to Isabelle Perna, our head of admissions for the MBA program, for attending also.
Thank you.
A bit about me, my name is Leah. I work as a marketing manager for the MBA program. So I work alongside Isabelle and the MBA team. And today we are joined by our dear Professor Alfes, who is going to introduce herself first and then go into a 30-minute masterclass. Afterwards, we can do a 15 minutes Q&A on the masterclass. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the chat. And we're going to end up with 15 minutes Q&A, but just about the program and admissions. If you have some questions, Isabelle will be here to advise. Professor, I guess you can introduce yourself.
Yes, great. Thank you, Leah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this MBA Masterclass. I will give a brief introduction about myself, and then I will talk about what it takes to be an emotionally intelligent leader. You should be able to see my screen. Yeah, in my slides. Perfect.
Yes, maybe we can have it in a bigger screen. Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you. So, my name is Kerstin Alfes. I am a professor for organization and human resource management at ESCP's campus in Berlin, and I've been with ESCP for 10 years in total now. You can see that I have held previous posts at other universities, but I'm very excited to be at ESCP and to work in that international, vibrant environment and to meet students from all over the world. I teach across a number of different universities, predominantly in executive education programs. I also teach at ESCP's MBA programs, courses on human resource management and on leadership. And you can also see that I am a passionate researcher as well. So my research interests align with what I teach around topics such as diversity and inclusion, leadership, and strategic human resource management. Today in this masterclass, I would like to give you my insights on why it is important that leaders are emotionally intelligent people, why emotional intelligence is a concept that is increasingly discussed in the business world, and also give a little bit of information about what it takes to be an emotionally intelligent leader. Before I discuss the concept of emotional intelligence, let's maybe pause a moment and think about why do we focus on the concept of emotions? Emotions is something, a concept that we wouldn't have discussed years ago. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the predominant view was that people kind of go to their office, they leave their emotions, their feelings outside the office door, and they enter just with the rest of their body. Of course, we know nowadays that this is quite an outdated view, and that everyone, like all people, have emotions, and that it's important to consider people's emotions. You can see that since 1983, we have a really kind of revised trends in terms of researchers, scholars, discussing more and more how people bring emotions to the workplace and how leaders need to actually consider those emotions. What are emotions? Well, emotions are short-term feelings that you experience and that are oftentimes stimulated by an event that happens in your life. So if you go out in the morning, as I did today, and the sun is shining in Berlin, then you immediately experience a positive emotion. If it's raining, you experience probably a more negative emotion. If you have just submitted an important project, you probably feel relieved. If you have a conflict with a colleague, you might feel angry. So we see that emotions is something that we cannot prevent from happening. They happen in the instant of a moment, and they are triggered by activities that happen in outside our environment that can be on a personal or on a work-related level. Why is it important that we discuss emotions in the workplace? Emotions are important to discuss in the workplace because we know and we see from our research that when people experience more positive emotions, they are more productive individuals. So you can see the upward spiral on my slide here, which is based on an established theory called broaden and build theory. If I have a team where people are generally positive about each other, then people are more able to think about different options. They are less see problems as less dangerous or less threatening for their work environment, and they're willing to collaborate, to generate new ideas, to identify solutions for problems they encounter, to come up with creative, innovative solutions. So we know that when someone is experiencing positive emotions regularly in the workplace, it broadens their mindset, they build additional resources, and as a result of that, they are better, more creative, more innovative performers. We also know that the opposite happens when people experience negative emotions. So imagine that you are in a time of conflict, or that you're angry, that you're dissatisfied with your work environment, with your colleagues, with your line manager. That moment when our emotions are negative, our brain is less able to find creative solutions, less able to focus on work-related problems. Also, we see problems, challenges, and more dramatic as they might be in real life. So we know that when we experience more negative emotions, we are less able to think clearly. And if that happens within our team, then team members might be less likely to be highly performing individuals. How does the idea of emotions now resonate with the concept of emotional intelligence? Well, emotional intelligence is based on the assumption that people understand each other's and their own emotions. And it is an increasingly important concept when we talk about leadership, because leaders in today's agile, dynamic, VUCA work environment need to be able, much more than maybe in 20 or 30 years ago, to understand their own emotions and to read and react to the emotions that their employees experience. Let's have a look at what are good leaders. Well, we know that leadership potential and leadership ability is rooted in three important components. We need leaders who are smart, like high level of cognition, who are motivated, and who show positive emotions at work. And research for a very long time has focused on those aspects separately. So we know that if you're smart, you're more likely to be a better leader. If you're motivated, you're more likely to be a performer. And if you are positive, then of course you are happier, more productive employee or line manager. What research has not yet done is looked at all three together and looked at how relatively important each of those aspects are for leadership potential. And therefore, some questions we can't answer yet. We don't know why optimism and hope affect health. We don't know why wisdom is so important in the work environment. But we know that it takes more than just being smart to lead a team and to lead a team effectively. And therefore, we need to focus increasingly more on the component and the notion of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, this is the definition that I like to work with. Emotional intelligence is our capacity to understand how we react emotionally to specific situations, to be able to manage our own emotions, and to be able to understand and manage the emotions of other people. And there's a very famous model on emotional intelligence amongst leaders. And that model designs 4 steps what it takes to become an emotionally intelligent leader. And during that masterclass, I would like to talk you through each of those 4 steps. The first step on emotional intelligence, it all starts with you. The first ingredient for emotional intelligence, excuse me. The first ingredient for emotional intelligence is your own level of self-awareness. You need to understand what type of workplace situations trigger positive emotions in you and what type of workplace situations trigger negative emotions in you. For example, I'm very much of a structured and organized person. So I react negatively in terms of my emotions if I am approaching a deadline, or if I, together with my team, are approaching a deadline, and if I feel we are not ready. We haven't done the project pitch yet. We have not done the research project. We haven't prepared the presentation in time. So working towards deadlines and approaching deadlines, my level of self-awareness shows me that these are situations where I react negatively. Whereas when I feel that I'm prepared, I react a lot more positively. Second step in terms of becoming an emotionally intelligent leader relates to being able to manage our emotions. If I know that I react negatively when we're approaching a deadline, as a leader, I can't yell at my team members, or I can't freak out, or I can't kind of sit in the corner and start crying. I need to show a specific level of self-regulation and emotional control, making sure that I stay within a professional environment. That also requires me as a leader to show a certain level of resilience and flexibility to react to situations that are usually not the ones that I prefer in terms of my emotional setup. So self-management, self-regulations, emotional control, being able to master and work with our emotions once we've understood them is the second step of emotional intelligence. The first two steps of emotional intelligence are all about us. So as a leader, as an emotionally intelligent leader, we need to focus on ourselves first before we actually can start understanding others. The third step on emotional intelligence, however, is about others. So here, social awareness plays a big role, which includes being empathetic and having an organizational awareness of who are the key stakeholder, what is the political environment that I need to navigate, what are kind of power relationships within the organization. I would like to very briefly talk a little bit about the concept of empathy. Empathy, I've had a discussion about that with a colleague yesterday. Some people tell me that empathy is something that we cannot learn. I totally disagree with that viewpoint. I believe that empathy is skill and that everybody can learn to master throughout our lives. Some of us are very empathetic persons from the start. Others maybe are less empathetic and learn, when they start managing people, that it's important to show empathy. So what does it mean to be empathetic? Empathetic means that we are able as leaders to connect with others and recognize their shared feelings. It doesn't mean that we give in to an employee's request. And it doesn't mean that, when an employee comes and asks for promotion, that because I'm an empathetic leader, I say, of course you get the promotion or you have the salary raise. It means that I'm understanding and then I'm relaying to the maybe disappointment that someone experiences or the dissatisfaction that someone experiences when I tell them, no, you can't get the promotion or you cannot get the salary raise that you asked for. Empathy is not a weak trait. Oftentimes is portrayed in the literature as something weak. It's not about giving in or having others let others have more power over you. Instead, it's about understanding how my decisions as a leader impact another person's feelings, showing, demonstrating perspective, taking perspective, and understanding how people react to the decisions that I'm taking. The third step of emotional intelligence is stakeholder management. And I believe that here it becomes very clear why emotional intelligence is something that is increasingly required from top managers and for leaders the more they climb up in the hierarchy. Step 4 of emotional intelligence revolves around relationship management. As an emotionally intelligent leader, I need to have social skills. I need to deal with clients. I need to deal with stakeholders, other stakeholders. I need to manage maybe a broader group of managers. I maybe have governing agency or lobby groups that I need to work with as a leader. And in order to effectively manage and navigate those different groups, I need to understand their viewpoint. What puts them in a good place? What puts them in a bad place? When do they react positively? When do they react negatively? I need to be able to persuade them, to get my viewpoint across, not by using the verbal techniques that I like, but by using the verbal techniques that I feel are most convincing if I'm talking to someone else across the table. I also need a high level of energy as an emotionally intelligent leader, because very often I have big change managements change processes to manage. I might have different problems that I encounter, and therefore I need energy and a certain level of determination in order to survive and in order to survive successfully. These are the 4 important steps of emotional intelligence. And there is an interesting twist around that. Some of you might have already done personality tests, like either in the internet, online, or you've been working for a company that encouraged you to do personality tests. If you have done personality tests, one of the things that you will have found out is the question whether you are more of an introverted person or whether you're more of an extroverted person. Interestingly enough, research suggests that people who are stronger introverts, they are usually intuitively better at self-awareness and self-management. So the first 2 steps of emotional intelligence. If you're more of an extroverted person, then you're more likely to find it easier to build social awareness and relationship management. So depending on your personality type, you might find it easier to be focusing on step 1 or 2 of emotional intelligence, red or yellow, versus step 3 and 4, green and blue of emotional intelligence. However, this is just a starting point. As emotionally intelligent leaders, we need to master emotional intelligence across all 4 different steps. And therefore, I have provided you with a few questions that you can kind of ponder on once we are getting out of this little masterclass. And I always encourage people to think about, where is your level of emotional intelligence? Are you aware of your own emotions? Are you able to regulate and manage your own emotions? What's your stakeholder management looking like? And based on that, discuss, what do you stop, continue, or start doing in your work-related life? Those of you who know, who like to watch movies, I highly recommend the Pixar movie that you can see here, Inside Out. I think it's a great movie that actually illustrates how emotions, turn our body around and how emotions shape our attitude to life. So if you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend that you do. There is a part 1 and a part 2, both are fantastic. And if you're more interested in the more scientific aspect of emotions and emotional intelligence, then I highly recommend a book and podcast by Brené Brown. You can see here on the picture here and the podcast here, the book Permission to Feel. I think it's the podcast Permission to Feel, and the related books, Dare to Care, are fantastic illustrations from a scientific perspective, showing us that as future leaders, we cannot be like that tough, hard stereotype that used to characterize leadership, but that we need to move towards understanding others. That's everything I wanted to share with you as part of that masterclass. Thank you for participating today, for joining the masterclass, and I hand back to Leah and Isabel.
Thank you so much, Professor. Does anybody have a question on the masterclass? You have a section on Zoom where you can ask your questions directly on the chat. So feel free to ask your questions. And if not, maybe you have some more specific questions in general about the program that Professor can answer also, or a question about admissions, and requirements, you can definitely ask Isabelle. So we have a question from Leon. He said, I really like your style of teaching and use of rhetorics. How does emotional intelligence help you with that part? Very interesting.
Yeah, that's a great question, Leon. Thank you very much for asking that question. Emotional intelligence, like one of the things that I like to do that I always do when I give a presentation or prepare a class, or also give classes on the MBA program, is I like to think about what is it that I want people to take away from that class, and how can I actually connect to maybe their interests, their needs, their knowledge, to make the class, the content, as relevant as possible. Now this is like an open audience, so it's kind of difficult to judge and know everybody individually in the masterclass here, but I hope that with the level that I chose, I targeted your interest and also spoke to something that is of relevant for you in your own daily work environment. So yes, emotional intelligence, connecting to my participant, does help to prepare lectures.
Thanks a lot. Okay. We have a question from Disha. As a person with B.Tech in information technology and working as an automation tester, is my work experience have any relevance for the MBA in international management?
But I think that's probably for you to answer, right?
May I answer? Yes. Disha, I think that all work experience is relevant for our MBA. We welcome diverse people from all over the world, from different backgrounds. And if you have the requirements to apply, please feel free to do it. Please contact one of the admission officer to see in details your profile, to see what is your professional project, and how we can help you for your MBA. Of course, you can contact us. So all professional experience is relevant because we like diversity in the class.
Thanks a lot, Isabelle. Let's wait for a few more questions. Don't hesitate to ask your questions now. You have the luck to have a renowned professor, as well as the head of admissions and recruitment for the program. So these are super insightful. That's definitely the time for you to ask all of your questions and get as much answers as you can.
And of course, if you want to contact us after the master class, feel free to do it. Huh? You have my email address. I can put you it in the chat, but you have it in the website, of course. And in each campus, you have an admission officer who is available to answer all your questions. Thank you, Leah.
Pleasure. I'm just putting both email addresses, yours, Isabelle, and as well as the MBA Paris one.
There was a question from Leon again.
From Leon, as we have heard, leadership often requires both IQ and emotional intelligence. How does the ESCP MBA ensure that students grow not only as thinkers, but as emotionally intelligent leaders? How should I present my leadership skills in the application? So basically, maybe you can both answer because both parts are interesting. So the first question is about how to grow not only as a thinker, but as an emotionally intelligent leader with the MBA.
Maybe I take the first part of the question, and Isabelle, maybe you take the second one for the application. Yeah. What we do as part of the MBA, of course, like we put you in a group of people that all are very diverse in terms of background, that come from different countries, that have different experiences, that have kind of different upbringings. And one of the big advantages that this diversity brings is it really kind of challenges you and your perceptions and your perspectives on life. Like, this is one of the feedback that I always get from my students, that because of the diversity in the room, perceptions that you might have when you started with the MBA have changed throughout that year-long journey. So you become more emotionally intelligent because you become more aware of others, and you become more aware of differences that others bring to the classroom and the value that lies in those differences. So one of the key feedback that I get from the students in the modules that I'm teaching is that they learn as much from each other as they learn from you, from me. And what they learn from each other, yes, of course, is content, like the IQ aspect, but it's also understanding different work preferences, or understanding different cultures, understanding, why someone is late for a meeting and another one is always on time, understanding how to bridge those differences, to find compromises, to negotiate work styles. All of that pays into your emotional intelligence. And this is why I think that the MBA, and the way that we teach, the way that we enhance that collaboration, fosters both aspects of intelligence.
Thank you, Professor.
How should I present my leadership skills in the application? Well, the application will help you to develop your skills, because you will have to introduce yourself in the application, develop your academic background, professional experience, and among the different questions, you will see how you can define your leadership in the application. Of course, a part of the application, you can be in contact with one of the admission officer in order to help you for the interview, because the most important part of the application is the interview. Because if you have the chance to have an interview in front of a jury composed by maybe Kerstin or one of other professors, or the academic director, or also Jumana Kasho, who is the director of the program, we will ask you questions, of course, about you. We will go back to your academic background. We will go back to your professional experience. And what we would like to understand is how this program will help you to reach your goal. And something which is important is, maybe if you need any help in order to be very ready and prepare for the interview, please contact one of our ambassadors or one of our alumni who did the program. Who else can help you better than us? So again, there is a team behind you. The alumni are also behind you. So feel free, Leon, to contact us. And of course, we will be very happy to help.
Thank you, Isabelle. We do have another question. I'm happy about your presentation. Are there scholarship opportunities for applicants from developing nations?
Well, we have 3 different scholarships. We have the Women's Scholarship, the Entrepreneur Scholarship, and the NGO Scholarship. To apply for those scholarship, you need to be admitted first. You cannot apply to the scholarship. You have the application form on the website, but you need to be admitted first. Of course, if you need help, contact us. We also have grants. You can be admitted with the grants, with a grant from 7,000 to 10,000. You can also be admitted without any grant. It happens. The grants depends on the quality of your application, result of test, and also the interview.
Thank you. I guess we have another question still on the topics of scholarships. Disha tells us, I have heard it's better to apply for scholarships early. What's the best time to apply for September 2026 intake? Or if you have a January intake as well, to start applying to increase chances?
We don't have any January intake. We only have one intake per year, and it is in September. If you, Disha, if you want to apply for the next academic year, I should recommend you to contact me in October. This is not necessary to apply now because those who are applying for the September intake 2025 are those who want to start in 2025. So you have time. Concerning the scholarship again, the scholarship depends on the quality of your application, result of test, and interview. So I can't tell you, well, you can apply now, you have better chance to get a scholarship, because it depends on you.
Thank you. That's very clear. Okay, do we have any other questions for now? Thank you to everybody. I guess we can wrap it up, but I think if you have a few more questions, I believe it's great to have one of the best people to talk to for the program, to ask your questions. I think it's a good occasion. But in a way that makes it, that says that the masterclass was super clear, professors. At least that's a good thing. Okay, well, no more questions. Then I guess we can wrap it up. Just for your information, if you have any question about the program, do you have any more advice you need, Isabelle is always available to talk. Please feel free to send her an email. She also has a Calendly link that you can find on our website. I can put the link actually here if you want to book a call with Isabelle, because that's the best way to know exactly how is your application, and maybe some things you can work on better. Let me put that.
I'm not alone. I'm not alone,
yes,
of course. Yes. We have an admission officer in each campus. We have 5 campuses in Europe, represented by 1 admission officer dedicated to you. So you can contact Vatsal, who is from London. You can contact Alejandra from Madrid. You can contact Alessia from Torino, me from Paris. And who else? Barbara from Berlin. From Berlin. I should start from Barbara from Berlin, because Kerstin, you are from Berlin. So, well, we are all dedicated to you. So all of you present in this webinar masterclass can contact anyone you want.
I just put the link in the chat. Perfect.
Yes, thank you.
Just for your information, the webinar would be available for replay on our website, and we'll send you a follow-up email to those who attended and those who couldn't, also just to send you the recording, and just to follow up with you if you need more answers. I guess we can wrap it up now. Thank you, dear professor, for this masterclass. Very insightful. Thank you, Isabelle, for all your precious advice.
It was a pleasure.
And thank you to everybody that joined us today for taking the time. And we hope you like this session, and we'll see you very soon. In the meantime, take care and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, Kerstin.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Bye.
Bye.